Okay, let's see where she. Okay, all right. Let's see. Okay, we're back on the stream. We don't know, we had a little technical issues, right? We disappeared from the screen. So, welcome to our live viewers and replay viewers. Again, we have with us Samantha S. Howard Jones as our special guest. She's a singer, author, public figure, and she's written this marvelous book entitled I Release You Uncovered, which she's going to share with us on today. So welcome to the Pharside Pholios, Miss Howard Jones.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation and the warm welcome.
All right, let's get into it because I made sure I got my copy, and it's available on Amazon. So you definitely are going to want to pick it up after she shares from her heart with us on today. So if you're out there in our live video audience, viewing audience, I encourage you to share, like, tag some people in the post, and we're going to get this discussion moving about this wonderful book. Now, what was your reason behind writing I Release You Uncovered?
My reason was to help heal, to help someone else heal, to let them know that they aren't alone. Pretty much, there's so many people who have experienced the same thing, same story, same situation in church, but they're afraid to talk about it. So the purpose of me writing it was to let them know it's okay to share your story. Also to bring light to other leaders who are over a body of Christ or who serve a portion of people to see or reflect themselves. Take a moment to look and self evaluate. Am I doing this also? Can I stop doing this? So it's been able to do exactly what I wanted it to do. Even pastors have shared to me that they've cried after reading it, after self examining themselves. So it's done exactly what the purpose was for.
All right. Now, based on some of the things you shared in the book, what was your transition like between what you understood about the church as a child and what you saw and experienced in the house of God as an adult?
Well, for me, I was definitely a different child. I came with gifts, so it's a package there. When you're born with spiritual gifts, you're born with it. So it was definitely different. But the main thing that I knew and was taught was that church is where we go to serve God, serve the Lord, praise the Lord. That's it. Didn't see anything else. That was all I knew. That's what it was as a child, and it was a safe space. As an adult, and grew older, of course, grew closer to God and was drawn closer to the things of Him and sharpened the gifts, which allowed clarity of things that were happening. Didn't always feel safe in those times of transitioning. Having served many leaders behind the scenes and administrational development piece, or just establishing a church to be legit with the state or serving in ministry of music, I saw other things that let me become aware that it wasn't solely the purpose of pleasing God. Everything had a different attachment or different agenda and motive as well as an adult.
And so for our live viewers and those who will catch the replay, our special guest, Samantha Howard Jones, is talking about her book, I Release You Uncovered. And she just shared with us as to what she knew about church as a child and then her perspective of church as an adult. In the beginning, you highlight that church tradition of the altar call and then calling for the doors of the church being open. What do you think is a hindrance or stumbling block to that truly happening, going beyond just, receiving the right hand of fellowship or being added to the membership roll, but making a life-changing decision for Christ and having a faith community that is going to help you and support you along your journey?
I believe that one of the main hindrances is the goal is not souls. When the goal is numbers, it changes the following of what happens after I come to the altar, sit down, take the chair, get the right hand of fellowship. If the goal is souls, you follow up with that person. You make sure that they are good, that they're going to come back, that they feel safe, and all of that. But if the goal is not souls, it really won't work. It really won't work.
So when we talk about the church not being the church not only as a sacred place, but one that should be a safe place, um, what should that safe place look like, and how do we create, effective safe spaces that are welcoming and do no harm?
Well, First Corinthians 16 tells us that to do everything in love. That's one of the main things that's missing in the church is love. Love and kindness have I drawn thee. So with that piece there, it wouldn't allow other things to rise up. So love has to be brought back into the sanctuary, into God's house for one.
So I think one of the main things about your book is an experience, your own personal experience that um, is in the title. I release you. Can you share a little bit without giving the whole thing away? Because people need to come and get this book. All right, they need to come and really get this book and dive into it. Um, can you share some of that experience and where you are now, in your journey and process after um, what occurred?
Yeah, after everything that's occurred and I've been able to overcome, definitely in a different space, and it comes with a different freedom, unrestrained freedom to be who I am. Sometimes we find ourselves dumbing ourselves down or toning it down a notch because of someone else's feelings or their insecurities or them not knowing who they are. So I found myself in a different space, being able to execute freely without it having to be cut off, judged, or without a territorial spirit attached to it that may shut it down early. So it's a different space of freedom for me.
And you speak of some of the issues you observed in the church, such as competition and jealousy. Um, how do we overcome those issues? Because I think, you know, we're in a season or been in a time where you're seeing it more and more. Who has the biggest church? Who has the biggest congregation? Who has, the best, choir? Who has the best, most visibility? Who has the most sales of products? Who's hosting the best conference or has the most attendees and those kinds of things. So we are definitely, with the rise of social media and technology and everything, that we're seeing more, of the competition and seeing that green monster that they call jealousy rise up. So how do we, overcome those issues? How do we, address them in a way that connects back to what you were talking about in terms of, love?
Well, we know that jealousy is as cruel as the grave, and we forget that piece of it. There's nothing good about it. There's always something that's underlying behind jealousy. There's a reason for it, whether somebody didn't take time to get to know a person, or whether they're dealing with something within themselves. Spikes jealousy, and it separates us from God's plan when we find ourselves to be jealous. And it is deadly. To overcome that, you just have to stay focused and remember that it's not your fault that they're jealous. You had nothing to do with how they feel about whatever's going on or competing with you. There's so many people who are competing with us, and we're not competing with them. If we work together, we can get things done on a broader scale at the end of the day.
Amen. Because we're also seeing with the advent of technology, people coming together to collaborate. So I think I connected with you myself through Clubhouse.
Yes.
Who would have imagined, being able to connect, with authors and speakers and, persons within the faith community, just on a Audible phone app. So there's, there's the good that can really come of it if we work together and collaborate to do what God's called us to do, um, and fulfilling His purpose for our lives. So we talk about, you know, a text message that led to your release. Um, Talk about that text message.
Yes, it was actually through Facebook.
Wow.
Facebook Messenger. I didn't even get the granting to get a text message, but it was a Facebook inbox. It was unexpected, unplanned, hadn't been, nothing toward that or worked up. I was actually at work when I got the inbox, and it kind of caught me off guard about what it was, or reply, don't reply yet, pretty much. But I could tell by the tone of the message that there were underlying feelings that hadn't been expressed. And that's why it's so important to be careful with our words and how we text, what we send, caps, exclamation. But I could tell from the wording that there was bitterness, anger, and a slight rage attached to what was being sent that had developed from somewhere else. But it was clear to what was said. There's also a difference in how people interpret text at times.
Mhm.
Um, Instead of talking, it can come across different with tone. You can hear the person or see their facial expressions. But that message was definitely unexplained and unclear.
So they like based on the original message to look, go and be free by leadership. um, what is the difference in your understanding of being free in that context of the message that was sent to you, and then the freedom that you're experiencing in your life right now?
Okay, well, that go and be free. I'll use this scenario since it's Juneteenth. We're celebrating that. Imagine a slave master telling a slave, "Go and be free," expecting that they're going to fail at survival or not make it through the trees, or they really didn't mean go and be free. They really meant go ahead and plan your death, pretty much, or the end of you. With that. And it could be just like picturing a parent telling their child, go and be free. That and the child is not sure of where to go for survival, who to reach out to for safety, pretty much. And then for me now, and where I am now, I'm covered. I'm free and covered. That freedom that she did left me free and uncovered. So it's good to be free and covered now. So that's a space that I'm in.
So speak to that being uncovered.
Mhm.
um, what is that feeling of being uncovered?
Being uncovered is just left to the wolves, stranded, abandoned, rejected, pretty much. And no one should have to experience those types of things from a leader, whether it be ministry or whatever. But that's what that is. It's pretty much rejection overall.
And we have a lot of persons who are challenged with the spirit of rejection. And it takes the Spirit of God to lift that and break that in someone's life in order for you to really walk in that freedom, in that fullness, in your purpose. Because if you're bound up by something, whether it's, fear, whether it's rejection, whether it's self doubt or anxiety or whatever the case is, it keeps you from moving forward and really doing that which you're purposed and destined to do. And so, in reading your book, the reader will truly see, how, you you can overcome, how even a release can bring you into a free space. So, since that time of that release, how have you been able to walk in your freedom?
In several ways. Again, the word unrestrained, I can't use that enough. The warfare that was still attached with that ministry is totally demolished from several areas. With being controlled, I would say, because it was for a reason, the release overall. But I've been able to accomplish more since my freedom than I have in being there for 7 years. Just last year in the middle of a pandemic, this book was released. I Release You Uncovered. My single was released. I was able to get married, buy a home, do all those things in my freedom. So it didn't happen until I was detached from the ministry, unfortunately.
But fortunately or unfortunately,
Both.
that when God has something for you, He has something for you.
Yes, that's true.
And you were able to, in the midst of a pandemic,
Yes,
she wrote a book, wrote a whole book,
a
um,
whole book.
a whole book to share her testimony. And then look, she tied the knot. Come on, y'all.
Yeah,
All my single folks out there. Won't God do it? Won't He
yes, it
do it?
will. Yeah,
And so
yeah.
she's got a powerful testimony of what God can bring you through and bring you out of, even after experiencing a traumatic, you know, something as traumatic as this kind of release, because definitely it comes at you like almost like a curveball, not something that's expected, not something that you were prepared for. It's not like you know you were called into an official meeting with
Right.
with the team, with a ministry team and leadership or anything of that nature, or you had some heads up awareness.
Mhm.
But to get the release from leadership the way that you did, it definitely appears to be like a curveball.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've been able to to respond in such a way with grace and and courage and boldness. Both you and you make reference to even how your mother responded in the situation. So both of you were really able to, overcome this challenge with such grace and and love um, in this whole experience. So,
Mhm.
what would be your advice to those who may be experiencing, some similar challenges um, with, leadership, whether it's, being able to, utilize their gifts in the church, whether it's about, opportunities or communication or understanding a situation. What are some um, words of wisdom that you can give people who are experiencing some of the similar things that you experienced that led to your release?
I would definitely tell them to, if they're experiencing the same thing I did, they need to definitely seek the Lord. If they're still supposed to be there attached to that ministry, to that leader, under that covering or not. And not to wait and not to be afraid to move. If God says move, if he says to stay for a certain period of time, stay till that time and then move. I would definitely say that to go ahead and seek the Lord immediately. Fast if you have to fast, but don't prolong it, and never allow loyalty to keep you bound or attached to something that's hurting your destiny or your future.
That loyalty, also obligation, that sense of obligation can be binding
Mm-hmm.
and detrimental, because that will keep you as locked up as chains would, or or attached to, and you're wondering why something isn't working for you. You're wondering why you're not making the progress you should be making, or why you're not getting to where you should be going. And it's because you're still tied, you're still connected, you're still bound, you're still, got that heavy sense of obligation that keeps you from really moving, and you find yourself stuck. And that's not where we want to be. We want to be forward moving, you know, in the things of God, just as you shared here, um, here in this time together, that you got a word of release from leadership. You
Yes.
and you received that word,
Yes.
and you had to process that, that message, because something like that, I mean, you have to take a step back and take a minute to, okay, what's really happening here, what's really going on. So what you said about praying is, key in seeking the face of God. If you need to turn that plate over, turn it over so you can get a clear word and some clarity as to next steps and what you need to do. And God will definitely give you that answer and will respond, because He is a God who answers, and He is a God that hears. As heard your case.
Yes, he did.
He heard your case. And
Yep.
as a result, you are walking into some real freedom
Yes.
and doing some real amazing things, especially with having published this book in the pandemic, and then, getting married, and then, now, home ownership. Those are some big things
Yes.
to have and to be able to accomplish during the course of a whole um, pandemic. Now, at the close of your book, um, you share some declarations of faith. Can you share some of those declarations with some of our viewers and those who might catch us by the replay?
Yes, in my book, I do share these declarations. Release negative thoughts, release the pain from your childhood, release the shame, release pain from your parents, release the pain from the man, release the pain from the woman, release the pain from the pastor, release the pain from your thoughts, release the pain from your heart, release the pain from your ex, release the pain from your spouse, release the pain you caused yourself, release the pain of rejection. Release the pain of being mishandled by people. Release the stress from things you can't change. Release that bitterness. Release them, release it. As of today, then you say your name. Release and say their name.
All right. So when we make these decrees, when we make these declarations, we are releasing what we have spoken from our lives. So we are cutting off some things, we are detaching from some things, we are letting go. And when we have let go those ties and things that had us tethered and bound, then we are free to move. We
Yes.
are free to move in the direction that God is calling us into. So thank you so much for sharing, Samantha S. Howard Jones, with us, these affirmations. And definitely, we want to encourage our viewers to um, catch you on. Catch you on your social media, and tell us how we can, our viewers and replay viewers, can follow you.
Yes, you can definitely follow me on Clubhouse, Samantha Jones. I'm on Instagram as well, Samantha underscore H Jones. And on Facebook, it's Samantha S. Jones for both my artist, author, and coach page, and for my personal page as well. So just send me a friend request. You can also send me an email if need to reach me via email. It is Samantha Jones Speaks at gmail.com, and by phone number 252-557-9857.
All right. So for our live viewers, as well as those who are going to be watching by replay. You want to pick up this book, I'll Release You Uncovered by Samantha S. Howard Jones. It will truly be a blessing to you, especially to those who have or are currently experiencing the wounds of church hurt and how we can conquer, overcome those challenges, and move forward into to that freedom. So we definitely want you to get your copy. It is available on Amazon, and you definitely want to follow Miss Samantha S. Howard Jones on all of her social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We want to thank you, Miss Samantha S. Howard Jones, for just spending this time with us this morning.
Thank
We
you.
wish you continued success with I Release You Uncovered and all the wonderful projects to come. Can you tell us about some of your music projects as well?
He Can is the current single that is available. It is on Apple iTunes for you to go ahead and download. It's on all digital media platforms, so that's Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, Pandora, all of that. YouTube, go ahead out there and grab it and add it to your playlist. More music to come. More music is being worked on currently and should be released soon.
All right, you've heard it from the author, artist, the public figure herself, Samantha S. Howard Jones, as to how you can follow her, how you can get her music, and we definitely want to support. We want to support, show our support for these artists and authors who are doing kingdom work. And we
Yeah.
want to sow into the kingdom by showing our support. So definitely check out and get that single added to your playlist. And don't forget to go to Amazon, get your copy of the book. And you also mentioned coaching, that you do coaching. So can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yes, I am a certified Christian life coach, and I empower women, teach women how to confidently navigate in life, ministry, and business while remaining feminine. But I am available for femininity coaching, empowerment sessions. I do currently have a deal going on with that, 4 week intensity. So I'm available to be reached with those same methods of social media, and the phone number is the same as well.
All right. So she has got a lot going on and she's doing it all, has done it all, and it's rolled out from being released and
Yes,
set free. And
yes,
she's got all of these things. She is coaching, she is ministering, she is singing, she is writing, and
yes.
she is, being a wife and doing all of it well with the grace and power of God. And we are so honored that you shared this time with us, shared your testimony and your story with us, because we definitely believe someone will be uplifted, someone will be empowered, someone will be encouraged,
Yes.
and this is going to break some folks free. Even those who may catch it and listen by the replay, that some freedom is going to happen as a result of listening and hearing your testimony. So thank you for spending this time with us this morning, and we wish you continued success with all of the wonderful projects you have currently and those that are to come. We're going to tell our live viewers and replay viewers that to stay tuned to the Pharside Co-ed Book Club Facebook page for more author interviews and posts as we celebrate being joyful in the month of June. So until next time, many roots, many voices are a part of the infinite story. So plant your seed and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Juneteenth celebration. Have a great day.